Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ms. TV Total Football. This situation between Alexander Isak and Newcastle, it's turning out to be very, very ugly now. We're going to take this moment and figure out, we're going to explore every avenue as to who's to be, who's in fault here, who's the culprit in all of this situation. You've got Liverpool, you've got Isak, you've got Newcastle. It's a total mess. It is an absolute total mess, and we're going to delve deep into this conversation. I'm going to react to this notorious transfer saga that's taking place in this window. Now, this isn't a unique situation. We've seen many a situation before similar to this, and one fan base absolutely loses their mind over the player, and the other fan base cannot wait for the player to join them. Now, look. We're gonna talk about this transfer saga from every different perspective. Before we do that, I just want to quickly show you what's been circulating around on social media, and then we can give a better perspective on all matters relating to this situation. Now, Indykaila is a Twitter page, X page, that is blown out of situation, blown out of control off the back of David Ornstein endorsing this page. Now, how much of it is true, whatever they're saying, that's up to you guys to figure out. But some of the stuff that I'm seeing on that page in regards to this transfer saga, it's not too far-fetched. How much of it is true, I don't know. But where there is a little bit of smoke, there's a little bit of fire. Now, here we go. Exclusive civil war breakout. The information has come from sources close to the Newcastle United players that civil war has broken out between the players over Alexander Isak's war with Newcastle United. Players feel disrespected by Isak. Senior players want Isak sold. Certain players on Isak's side, Eddie Howe, annoyed at saga. Isak will be blanked by players. Now, you look at all of those points. There's 5 points there. Once again, I reiterate, how much of it is true, that's up to you to decide. However, are any of them outrageous? I don't think so. Are any of them so far-fetched? I don't think so. There could be some level of truth. It's not unbelievable to think that some of these points could be true. It's not like, oh, no, that's categorically wrong. No, it could be. It could very well be. This scenario, ladies and gentlemen, right? It's not a new thing. Isak, I'm so certain, and there's a clip of David Ornstein that's floating around on social media, which was done way back in March this year, last season. And David Ornstein was saying in that clip way back in March that Isak had already voiced that his plans for the future, and the plan does not, it doesn't belong. Newcastle doesn't belong in that plan. That's what has been said. The plan simply doesn't have Newcastle in it at all. And he talks about the fact that, look, I'm telling you and giving you guys enough time to find a replacement. I want to leave. So this situation with Isak, this isn't something that just materialized in this transfer window. It was known. So some of this stuff that we're seeing now, it cannot be so far-fetched. It cannot be so unbelievable. All above information has come from our trusted source. So we'll see how much of it is true. For me, I feel like some parts could be true. I want the best, strongest squad possible, but I really want players who want to play for this football club. This is coming from Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe says he doesn't know what the outcome will be surrounding Alexander Isak's future. So even obviously Eddie Howe, he must be annoyed as a manager of the football club. He wants a settled squad. Apparently Newcastle haven't won a single game in this preseason. This transfer saga is bad news for Newcastle. Very, very bad news for Newcastle. Luke Edwards, he's saying, I stand by every word for this article, and we shall see who is right on September 1st. Isak has been told he's not for sale by the board. So the recent news is Newcastle board are apparently saying he's not for sale anymore. It's too late. We're getting closer and closer to the Premier League start. Newcastle still haven't found a replacement, and there's his Newcastle board are saying, you know what, he's not up for sale anymore. He's thrown a strop and wants to force his way out. Why do you think he's not involved? That's where things are with Newcastle United. And this is off the back of Luke Edwards saying, exclusive, Newcastle United have told Alexander Isak he will not be sold this summer and move to Liverpool will be blocked, sparking player fury. Now, let's talk about this entire incident, all right, in details. As I said, this player has told about his intention to leave the club way back in March this year, which was last season. This isn't a new phenomenon one bit that it only started from this window. No. Player felt that he is capable of moving to a bigger club. And this is what I want to talk about, right? So the players obviously made the intention that he wanted to leave early. Why? Let's talk about that. Look, with no disrespect to Newcastle fans and Newcastle as a club, ultimately Liverpool are a bigger club. Whether you like it or not, Newcastle, yes, is a big club in United Kingdom, in England. Yes, they have a loyal fan base in England, in Newcastle. Fantastic fan base. One of the best fan base, right? But Liverpool are a global club. Liverpool will be competing at all fronts, Premier League, Champions League. Liverpool can offer more money because they earn more money. Ultimately, Isak, off the back of last season and the season prior to that, as he was building, he slowly started to realize, look, I need to earn more. He's apparently on like 120 or 130,000 pounds per week. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section. Last time we checked, he's about 120, 130,000. Newcastle can't pay more. And Eddie Howe has come out publicly and said that. He said, look, financially, it's a problem. Yes, the club's a big club, but financially, they're still struggling with PSR. They can't afford big wages. Very few of their players are on big wages. Isak's at a situation in his life where he's like thinking, you know what? As a footballer, I don't have enough time. I don't have like years and years. And he's an injury-prone player. His best years are probably the next 2 to 3 seasons. He's hitting prime. And he feels, you know what? I need to earn as much as money as possible, really set up my life, for not just for myself, but for my entire family, and win as much as possible. Where is it more possible to win? At a bigger club, unfortunately for Newcastle fans. So from the player's perspective, financially, it's a problem. In terms of winning accolades, it's a problem. Newcastle, look, as much as we all want to believe that they can compete in the Premier League, they really cannot. That's the problem. They really cannot. You look at Newcastle, and this is the other one side I want to talk about now, right? And there's so many different perspectives to look at. We looked at the player's side, why he wants to leave, right? Now from the club side, look at the club itself. Newcastle have been given ample time to find a replacement, and they still haven't been able to do so. And they must have entertained this sale. Of course they must have, because they're going out in the market and trying to buy every other striker, and they're failing to do so. Why are they doing that if they don't intend to let go of Isak? And don't tell me they want to keep Isak and add more strikers on top. No, I don't think so. They don't have that firepower. They don't have that financial capabilities. We have seen it. Newcastle have been rejected so many times this season already. Ekitike, Brian Mbeumo, Cunha, João Pedro, Sesko, the most recent one, and the list goes on. So, it's very easy to sit here and blame the player. And we will get to that side of the story as well, whether his behavior has been poor or not. But the club, Newcastle, have been given enough time, and they've not been able to successfully find a solution. And now it's come to this predicament where they're forcing the player to stay when the player's given ample amount of time. Now, from the fans' perspective, looking into the player, saying, hey, this is pathetic behavior. I completely get it from the fans' perspective. I really do. To all the Newcastle fans out there, you have the right to be upset. Of course you do, because this situation is creating chaos for your football club. It's not ideal. Should Isak should he be doing what he's doing? You know what I mean? Like not going to preseason tour, claiming it to be injury. Let's be honest, he wasn't injured. Now he's, unwilling to play for Newcastle. Is this good behavior? He is in a contract, right? You've got a contract. You got a 5-year contract. You got to abide by it. Of course you do. Has Isak been acting poorly? I don't know. This is a very tough situation. In one hand, the player feels this is the moment to leave because he might be right. He might not get this opportunity ever again. And from the player's perspective, he's saying, look, you as a club, you're about to make big money out of me. Liverpool recently put in 120 million bid, I believe. I think somewhere around 130 million gets the job done. And Liverpool have collected off the back of Darwin Nunez, off the back of Luis Diaz. So they now have money to operate. And on top of, past few windows where Liverpool didn't buy anything, they've definitely got money. So Isak's perspective is, look, what's the problem? Like, surely you didn't think that I was going to stick around at your football club forever. And look, if he was to stick around, then you're going to have to offer him huge money. And I know recently Newcastle apparently tried to offer him another new contract, and Isak has straight outline declined. And I don't know how much that new contract is worth. Is that worth double what he's on? I don't know. But it's not just about the money, I don't think, here. I think it's about the firepower of the football club to go on and actually win on a regular basis. He goes to Liverpool, my days, he's going to clean up. He's going to clean up. So, Newcastle fans, I get the frustration. I honestly understand it. But at the same time, I think there's incompetency from your football club as well. Your football club is going out there and getting rejected left, right, and center. That's not on Isak. Isak's given ample time and ample information that he wants to leave way back from March. Can you hate the player? The fact that he wants to leave your football club? And this is how I want to encapsulate the whole thing. Newcastle United, you're just not a global club as yet. I'm sorry to say this. There are certain things in life you're just going to have to accept. You're not there just yet in terms of global reach, in terms of global power. Yes, you can compete, sure, but you cannot have that global reach that Liverpool has. Liverpool got fans all across the world in millions. Newcastle don't have that. Liverpool are a heritage football club. And that's just that's how the food chain looks like. So look, ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like the player is now made to be looked as a villain. I'm pretty sure a lot of his teammates are probably now annoyed about the whole situation, but at the same time, some of his teammates might feel for him as well. I feel for the manager because the manager doesn't deserve to be in this situation. But I do want to blame the hierarchies at Newcastle that they've not been able to handle this properly. They've not been able to find a replacement quickly enough. They've been getting rejected. And now it's come to a point where they're forcing the player to come back. And look, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Ultimately, look, it's not a good idea to keep a player that's unhappy. If by chance, by the end of this window, the window closes and Isak is still a Newcastle player, of course, Isak will have to carry on. He is going to have to abide by the rules and regulations of his contract, and he's going to have to put in his level best for Newcastle. But is it ideal to keep a player that just doesn't want to be at your football club? His heart is not there anymore after this entire saga that has taken place? It's a shambolic situation, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely shambolic situation. Look, Liverpool and their fans, they're buzzing. If they get the player, they become absolute favorites to win everything this season. And even if they don't, they still have a mighty team anyway. Newcastle, on the other hand, I think at this moment, you're going to have to let the player go. You're going to have to find a solution somehow quick. And I thought the solution was there with Nicholas Jackson, with Chelsea, but it doesn't. I don't know. I don't know whether that's happening or not. Newcastle are trying to be stubborn as well, but I don't think that's wise. I think you need to part ways. A lot of people are saying, look, player power, player power. Look, when you got a player like Isak, you have to understand, as I keep repeating, Newcastle, you're just not Liverpool or, Man United or Arsenal or Chelsea or Man City. You're just not that. Maybe you can one day become that, but that's the reality of it. You're not going to be able to keep big players at your football club for a long period unless you can offer big money, unless you show that you have the firepower to compete and win trophies on a regular. Until then, this is what it is. And I feel like the longer this takes, it's very detrimental for Newcastle as a club, and it's detrimental for the fan base as well. And it's detrimental for the player because the player is just getting absolutely clobbered left, right, and center on social media by the fans, and many more. And I feel like the player has made his intention very clear earlier on that he always wanted to leave. Ladies and gentlemen, let me know your thoughts. This matter is getting very ugly with Newcastle and Isak. And let me know, which side of the story are you in? Do you understand all the perspectives here? Let me know in the comment section. Smash up the like button if you're here for the first time. Subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Till next time, take care. See ya. Bye.